Hello and welcome to Love My Poland. In my last video, I thoroughly detailed 7 foods that I would never want to try again in Poland, foods I really didn't like, and as I imagined, it was one of my most polarizing videos, with half of my viewers telling me that I'm a complete American with no taste, with the other half saying, well, we kind of partially agree with you on some. I had a few that said all 7 were terrible as well. Anywho, this video is the follow-up to that video. These are the 10 foods I love the most here, and it was tough for me to come down to a list of just 10. There are so many dishes here that I enjoy, and really, those 7 are the only ones I really don't. Let's get to it. Let's dig in. Here are 10 dishes in Poland that you have to try if you come here the first time, and you won't be sorry. Number 1 is a dish today called Gołąbki. The name Gołąbki translates literally to little pigeons from Polish to English, but they don't contain any pigeon meat, so don't worry. In English, we would refer to them as simply cabbage rolls. Poles prepare gołąbki in a variety of ways, but my favorite is a mix of ground pork and rice as a filling, all wrapped up with cooked cabbage that is still a bit crispy to the bite. I always go with tomato sauce on top, and I can't eat gołąbki without lots of parsley flakes sprinkled on the sauce there. And if you're looking for a spicier experience, I do this very often, hit it with a few dashes of Tabasco sauce. Oh my gosh, it is just too good, and I could eat this a few times a week, no problem whatsoever. Dish number 2, we have to go with pierogi. I know Russell lives in Poland and he likes pierogi. Wow, what a shocker. The truth is, though, that I enjoy virtually all varieties of pierogi, but I have to zero in on my all-time favorite, and that is pierogi ruskie, or the politically correct term now should be Ukrainian pierogi. I have seen restaurants change it from ruskie, I guess because of Russian, to Ukrainian. My favorite bar in Częstochowa is a bar called Pierożek. I highly recommend it. You can always count on them, on anything they serve, to be hot and fresh right out of the pot. These pierogi are filled with a combo of potato and white cheese, and they are perfectly salted every time. The dumpling envelope, I think that's the right word, around the filling is neither too soft nor too hard, and I like my pierogi topped off with plenty of caramelized onion bits. Those come standard with the pierogi ruskie. Oh my goodness, if you haven't tried this variety of pierogi, again, you've been missing out, but put it on the top of your list when you arrive in Poland. Pierogi ruskie, or Ukrainian pierogi, please. Our third food on the list is Bigos. Words cannot describe just how popular this dish is here, especially around the Christmas holidays. Bigos translates in English to hunter's stew, and it consists of chopped meat of various kinds. I'm always served usually Kiełbasa or other types of pork meat in there, stewed with sauerkraut and shredded cabbage. Oh, my mother-in-law makes this dish to perfection, and I love it for its salty, smoky, tomatoey taste that's also slightly sour thanks to the addition of cured cabbage that's cooked just right. Personally, I like my Bigos to contain prunes as well for a hint of slight sweetness in the mix. I insist that everyone try Bigos once in their lives, and you might have noticed the crispy bread roll off to the side. Don't get me started on how good Polish bread is. That deserves its own video, and Bigos has to go with some good Polish bread. Our next 2 dishes, numbers 4 and 5, happen to be soups, and I would easily argue that they may be the world's best soups. Dish number 4 is called Żurek. Żurek is a classic sour rice soup that will really leave you feeling full every time, and it's exceptionally tasty. Over my years here, I've become a true fan of sour soups, and this one is king in my view. You might have heard of another similar soup called zalewajka before, and it's somewhat like Żurek. I really don't know the exact differences, but I love that one as well. So imagine an ideally prepared soup with potatoes, smoked bacon pieces, dried mushrooms, sliced boiled egg, and some hearty pieces of Kiełbasa inside. This soup is a meal in itself, and I love ordering it at the many roadhouses you can find off the highways in Poland. Look out for the word zajazd and ask for Żurek or zalewajka. You can thank me later for that. It is so good. For dish number 5, I cannot forget to mention a Highlander soup from the mountain region in the south of Poland called Kwaśnica. One of my all-time favorite restaurants here in my city of Częstochowa is one I've mentioned a few times before because it's worth it. And it's actually named after this delicious dish. The name of the restaurant is Gospoda Kwaśnica, or kind of a Kwaśnica tavern is the name of the restaurant. And they serve a really mean kwaśnica. Just take a look at what comes with this dish. This soup is appropriately named because it translates to, well, sour soup. They've thrown in a delicious piece of kielbasa with dried bacon bits, which resemble croutons to me, but they're in fact pieces of actual dry bacon. It's all topped off with parsley flakes, and it is pure heaven in every bite. You must try Kwaśnica soup, and it tastes even better down in the mountain air, Zakopane, somewhere down there in the mountains. Order a cold beer on tap, and you're going to be a happy camper. Our sixth dish today may not technically qualify as Polish originally, but it's so present and popular here that it can't be left off our list. The Poles use the French term de volaille, which in English is called chicken Kiev. It turns out that this dish has nothing to do with being French, but it's actually likely Ukrainian in origin. A properly prepared de volaille should be pounded chicken breast stuffed and wrapped with cheese, butter, parsley, and chives. It's then fried to perfection with a crispy breadcrumb shell, and it is inexplicably, amazingly delicious. The best de volaille, as Magda Gessler points out from her show, should be really juicy on the inside, leaving you with this cheesy, buttery sauce on your plate that the minute you cut into it just kind of explodes on you, as you see in the video. This is just another dish that has to be eaten to understand how good it truly is. De volaille. Another tasty treat you'll find all over the country is our seventh food called Croquettes. Croquettes do actually originate from France back in the 17th century and are known as Croquettes in French. However, Polish croquettes have a recipe and taste all their own and are especially good when paired with red borscht soup in a cup. The basic idea of croquette is a fried crepe-style pancake filled with various ingredients like minced meat, cabbage, or onion, and all fried on a pan, again with a crispy breadcrumb layer on the outside. When I'm at a Polish wedding reception, a Polish wedding party, and I've been to over a dozen of them in my years here, it seems this is always the meal I'm served around midnight after having danced several hours. I'm always starving by the time these arrive, and yes, they hit the spot just right. What more can I say? They're just awesome. You have to try croquette with red borscht soup. The eighth dish I'd like to talk to you about today is Tatar, or the Polish version of steak tartare. As you know, steak tartare can be found all over the world, and it's not specific to Poland, and it's made according to a countless number of different recipes. The Polish variety of tartare is rather straightforward, and it's probably just what you're thinking. You're going to be served completely raw beef that might be a health hazard, right? Well, that's exactly what I thought when I was served it the first time years and years ago by my best friend. But he said, "Russ, don't worry. I properly did this. Everything was handled and prepared just right, so I've never been sick. You won't be either." Polish Tatar calls for a combination of raw beef mixed with a variety of other ingredients. At the restaurant where I am today, Pod Ratuszem in Częstochowa, they've given me some diced pickle, onion, and pickled mushroom to mix into the meat with the egg yolk on top. It's a chicken egg. And speaking of egg yolk, I love the fact that many Polish recipes call for quail eggs for the dish. You can also add liquid seasonings to the meat like Maggi or soy sauce that really gives it that saltiness. I can honestly admit that I've eaten Tatar here in Poland probably over 100 times easily in my many years here, and I've yet to have a problem with it. Are there any Tatar fans out there? Anybody love this dish? For our ninth food, you may be wondering where the Kiełbasa is. What is Poland without its savory sausages? Well, again, I have to go back to my Polish barbecue video and emphasize just how good Kiełbasa Śląska is. I have tried dozens of different sausages here, but this one never disappoints. It's such a versatile sausage. It's good for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it is ideal over a charcoal grill with friends during the warm months. Simply put, I adore this sausage, and Poles are going to laugh at me here, but I'm really crazy about the Lidl brand of Kiełbasa Śląska. It's sold under the Peacock brand name, but it is not made in Germany and sent over here. It is produced here in Poland by a Polish company. So again, I'm not promoting any brands. I just specifically love this one. Peacock Kiełbasa Śląska from Lidl. Try it. You won't be sorry. Kiełbasa Śląska. For our 10th and final food today, I would like to focus on everyday snacks just for a moment. We've got 3 hungry boys here, and we always keep a large stock of something called Kabanos, or snack stick sausages, in our fridge in a range of different flavors. Just look at this. Growing up in Texas, the closest thing we had to Kabanos would have been these very unhealthy gas station Slim Jims that they sell, these kinds of sticks there that you really cannot compare the flavors at all whatsoever, or some other kind of beef jerky that you can find. And that was tasty as it was, but until I moved to Poland and tried Kabanos, wow, I'm in love with these. You know, your typical Kabanos can be made out of pork, but you can also find poultry Kabanos made with chicken or turkey, like the ones I have here. I like the drób flavor. But there's spicy Kabanos, there's Kabanos with cheese inside. There's even now a vegan Kabanos that I saw recently, if that's your thing. Kabanos always saves the day on long road trips or all-day baseball games with the boys. Does anyone out there not like these? They're so yummy, they're so tasty. If anybody wants a good business idea for the USA, Kabanos in every supermarket and every gas station in the US. You'll make a fortune. Well, in closing, you might have noticed that I didn't mention anything sweet, no desserts or other sweet treats. Let me get that out of the way really quickly. My favorite dessert here is strawberry custard sponge cake. You know, the kind of strawberry jello that you have at the top with the strawberries trapped inside and that delicious sponge cake. That is my favorite, but I also like a good Makowiec cake, the poppy seed cake as well. But if I'm in the mood for a fast candy bar, I'll always go with a Prince Polo. My favorite Polish candy is Prince Polo. I've got a sweet tooth. I've really got to cut down on eating sweets. I tell myself that every year. But these were my all-time best foods here in Poland. Someone also asked me in the video, Russell, what about flaki? You didn't mention that you hated flaki. I don't hate flaki. I actually think flaki is not bad. As long as I just tell myself you're not eating what you think you're eating, and I just taste the taste of flaki is not too bad. So it didn't make the list. It's somewhere in the middle. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I accept it. Flaki's all right. Thank you so much for watching today. If you've made it to the end, thank you. It's a long video. I appreciate that. Click the subscribe button somewhere here on the vegetation behind me so you don't miss out on future videos. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time.